This will help you. That feeling that you're reaching for, what so many people are reaching for or believing, is that in the meditation that they will have this great awakening and this great awareness, and the light will shine and the dawn will break and the cymbals will crash and bang, and that's when the moment of enlightenment will happen. No, that's an impulse that often doesn't have too much importance to it, except that you know it's an impulse that you received that wasn't your own, so you know it's guidance. And then if you're wise enough to follow that and see where it leads, eventually it will lead to the crescendo of manifestation. You see what we're getting at? Let whatever it is be enough. Don't be so quick to judge yourself not yet in the worthy seat, not yet in the receiving seat. Show yourself that you are, and let whatever it is be enough. That's really an important key, because wherever you are is enough. And you know why it is enough? It's got to be enough because it's all you got. You can't force it to be more than it is. But when you acknowledge what it is, and then that becomes more, and that becomes more, and then that becomes more. Some of you have heard us tell the story. We've been telling it often these days because it really speaks to what we just said to you in such a powerful way. So Esther has been enjoying meditation for a long time, but with our new emphasis on it, she is making sure every day that she quiets her mind, and she loves the feeling of a quieted mind, and she knows the feeling of a quieted mind, and she also knows the feeling of something dropping in. And so a thought came to her the other day that was not a very significant thought by thought standards. She was thinking about her music system in her house and how she really didn't know how to operate it, and how it had been quite a long time, and the feeling of wanting to understand it was really a thirst inside of her. And so she sat down. She has no instructions, and it works through the television and through a remote sort of thing. And so she just started pushing buttons, and she was allowing herself, because she'd just come through meditation, to follow the impulse of those us who knew what buttons to push and in what sequence. It's a little bit of a complicated system if you're just pushing buttons, but if you're pushing the buttons in the right sequence, and suddenly screens came up she'd never seen, and choices appeared on her screen that she'd never had before, and suddenly she has access to a lot of music that she did not know that she had access to, and to a lot of zones in her house, in her gardens, on her deck, in her property, that she didn't know she had. And now she is like a mad chemist. She is so excited because now she has new knowledge that is in her mind. She doesn't know where it's coming from, and she doesn't question. It really feels like her personal discovery. What it was personal discovery of intricate guidance about things that we knew about that she didn't know about. That's what discovery often feels like, you see. And so she pushed buttons, and she began listening to different kinds of music, and she began playing it in different volumes in different areas of her house. And then she discovered the button of rap. And when she pushed it, everything felt like it was transforming to her, in the sense that it was unfamiliar music, unfamiliar tempo, unfamiliar everything, and she turned it up loud in every room, and in every speaker, in every outside speaker. The entire neighborhood was rapping for a little while. And then she moved on. She turned it off. She went on with her day and did other things. And she didn't stop to think at all about that being inspiration. It just felt like a good idea that led to something really fun. That's what it felt like to her. So the next morning she awakened, she meditated, and when she came out of meditation, the thought that dropped into her head was how much fun it would be to move the furniture around in her house. And there's a lot of it. There are two houses side by side. A thirst to do it, a sort of ravenous feeling about it. She wasn't thinking so much that she was receiving. It just felt like the best idea she'd had in a really long time. It felt like such a good idea. Didn't feel like stopping world starvation. It didn't feel like world peace. It felt like moving the furniture around, and how fun that might be. And so she knew she couldn't move it around herself. So she got online and found someone who could, called them. 2 men came over, and they're moving furniture from here to there, and there 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 to there. It was really fun. And then most of it they moved back to where it had been before, because It really was in the right place, most of it, but oh, it was so much fun seeing it in all those different places and experiencing the fun of these very strong people who seemed delighted to just move it anywhere that she thought she might like it to be moved. She felt like she was sort of orchestrator of the universe. Over there, please. It was great fun. And so she moved the furniture from place to place. And then one of the young men said to her, "It's so beautiful here." And Esther said, "It is. We live in the most beautiful place." And he said, "I know." And he said, "But I'm leaving." And Esther said, "Where are you going?" And he said, "I'm going back to Alabama. I'm going there." And Esther said, "Why would you do that?" And he said, "Because I'm a rapper. And I have things that are happening there, and I haven't been able to get anything going here." And Esther said, "Hold on just a minute." So she goes in the other room, pushes her buttons, turns everything up loud in all of the gardens, and here comes rap. And she goes back out into the room where they are, and his eyes are very, very big. And he says to Esther, "What do you do?" And Esther said, "I'm a teacher." And he said, "What do you teach?" And Esther said, "I teach rap." Which is more true than any of you realize. And then Esther was able to help him answer questions. She gave him some recordings. She gave him some books. Her inner being knew where he was. His inner being knew where he was. His inner being knew where Esther was. Her inner being knew. In other words, this one that you want to talk about, this collective place where all things are known, knew what the best unfolding would be for two people to receive something right now that they both were ravenous to receive. Esther, an opportunity to assist someone, to help them know something more than they've known it before. This young man, understanding things, understanding the next logical step for him, being able to understand that just going to another place, Esther said, "You know, you will take yourself with you. The place doesn't make the difference. It's how you feel that makes the difference. Standing where you are and then going is an entirely different thing than going because of how you feel and taking yourself with you." And so what we're getting at here with you, and we know that you're hearing it. We know that you are understanding that our primary point is that when you sit to meditate and you know that you are, and you trust the information, trust the information that, 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 trust the information that comes. And the reason you're able to trust it is because you're not asking it to be the answer to all things at once. You're not asking it to be the answer to everything that you're wanting to know. You're not even asking it to be the answer to the most important questions that you're holding in your heart. You're allowing it to be the answer that you're ready to hear. And you're trusting that your inner being knows the answers that you're most ready to hear. And you're trusting that not only does your inner being know the answers that you're most ready to hear, but your inner being is never judging you that you're not ready to hear other answers. That your inner being knows that there are specific, deliberate paths that are contoured just for you because of the combination of desires and beliefs that you uniquely hold, you see. That's why no one can write a book that leads everyone. That's why there's not one process that works the same way for everyone. And why would there need to be when you have this infinite intelligence within you that knows you and cares about you and knows everything that you're asking about and is able and willing to guide you? The question is, are you in the receptive mode? That's the only question that we want you to really find the answer to. As you're moving about in the hours that we are still together in this forum and beyond, ask yourself often, am I in the receiving mode? What receiving mode am I in? Am I receiving from my source energy, or am I receiving from some spin-off of man's conscious thought? And once you start correlating this, once you make the logical connection between what you're doing vibrationally and what you're receiving, and then you have enough faith or trust in your own connection that you're willing to follow the impulse, whether it's a silly one or whether it's a grand one, and then you are able to witness the results of it as the proof. Trust first, alignment first, feeling first, emotion first, connection first, alignment first, knowing that you're aligned first, trusting first, emotional first, knowing what the emotion feels like, knowing what the emotion is supposed to feel like, knowing what the emotion does feel like, trusting that you're in alignment, and then in alignment, and then that's all you need to know.